Zellner up for Q&A.
Thank you. Back there.
Hi. I actually had an opportunity to read the synopsis a few times before it went to print. And I was so surprised, I have to say, by the beauty of the shots, the way they were framed, the richness, and the vividness of some of the scenes, the silent scenes. And I have to compliment you on this. It's a very beautiful looking film.
Oh, thank you very much. Nathan shot it.
Well, oh yeah, blame it on your brother. But I guess my question, well, the only question I have, I suppose, and I think it's really wonderful. Have you read or heard the story by Ira Sher? It's a story by a person named Ira Sher, about a group of children who happened upon a child, or no, I'm sorry, happened upon a person in a well, and choose to do nothing about it. It's on This American Life some years ago, but it's the kernel of the same kind of story. Yours took it to an immensely different place.
Well, a friend of ours asked us about that as well. I mean, I don't know, the most, I think the most direct, ideas that we pulled from were this kind of news item from the late 80s.
Not an accusation, mind you.
Oh, no, absolutely no. I mean, maybe on some subconscious level, I think the most direct influences would be the baby Jessica trapped in a well story from the late 80s, which was when we were kids. We grew up in Texas, and that was in West Texas. And it really, it was a big sensational news item, and it was really, really odd to us. And then just kind of the idea of these, mysterious kind of voids in the woods, that you would stumble upon as a kid, and the mystery behind that.
Anyway, very beautiful, and I love the way you showed that children have a certain amount of privilege, because she wasn't lacking for stuff, can still be lacking for the love and the guidance, etc.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, so what was really going on with you guys? I mean, with Marvin and with the other guy. Maybe it was supposed to be obvious, but I didn't really, were they supposed to be...
Well, maybe they were maybe they're brothers, or maybe they were just friends, but we don't really say beyond that. They're just, they're alike in their ineptness, and they kind of enable each other to kind of maintain that kind of lifestyle. And that's as far as we wanted to take it in terms of explaining that. And really, in terms of the character Nathan played, Marvin, you can elaborate more on that, but we just thought, like the idea of, he's not an abusive parent or anything, he's very absent is his biggest crime. I mean, I think he is doing the best he can, in his role, but that's the best he can do is really poor, obviously. Do you have anything to add to that? Okay.
What is that red radio movie then?
Oh, it's a Buddha box. It plays little Buddha chants on it. I found it. It's online from China a long time ago.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks. Yes?
So, the final decision in the film with her going down the well, would you type that as positive or negative? In some ways, the case would be made for you.
I agree, and that's kind of where we like to leave it, depending on, for her, it's a sort of closure, and we kind of don't want to, go into any more detail beyond that about, it's kind of up to how people want to interpret it. I think the main thing that we wanted to work with throughout the film was to deal with it from the perspective of Annie's character, in terms of the here and now, of the beauty and horror of the world around her, from the perspective of this 10-year-old girl that is trying to, the world is still very new to her, and she's figuring things out. And I think kids in general at that age are little scientists and explorers, and just about, everything's fresh. It's all about just, testing the boundaries around them. And so that from that perspective, that seemed like, the natural trajectory of what you would, do in the end.
You said before the film that it's a coming of age film. However, I feel that there wasn't much of a progression or like a change amongst the girl.
Yeah.
There's not. I mean, the advances is something different, but what would you say for like coming of age? Like what?
Well, that's a very general term, I guess. But I think mainly it's just her going through this certain stage in her life, and
I guess I'm asking kind of what's her end game?
Well, her endpoint is what you see in the film. It's this kind of, we wanted to focus on this age right before she would kind of surrender to tropes of puberty and what a girl, more of what a girl's supposed to do. That's why you specifically wanted her to be a tomboy, and very much just several levels of kind of isolation in terms of how she relates to people around her and how she's figuring out who she is. So that's I don't know if that answers your question, but that's basically where we're coming from in terms of the period in her life we were focusing on. Yes.
How long did filming take?
We shot it over 17 days. We had to work around the Sydney Aguirre, who was the star. She was in school at the time, so we had to work around her school schedule. Yes.
What was the actual disposition of Sydney? There seems to be a natural cruelty in her performance.
We don't have a particular, label to pin on her with that, and we just wanted, to have a very complex kid that had a lot of problems, and when we were, sat down with the actress and, went over the story with her, we said, she's going to be doing these bad things, but she's a very, complex human, and so we didn't want to, wanted to make her have, many facets and not demonize her, but we didn't want to put a particular label on her either. But the main thing we told her was she would have a lot of feelings that she was going through in terms of anger and aggression and sadness and loneliness and jealousy, but and fear, maybe more than anything, in terms of trusting the world around her. But we wanted her to do everything she could to kind of internalize those and put up a wall in terms of how she deals with these problems. Yes.
I'm not a movie critic, I'm a pediatrician. And what I got from this movie was that you were showing the development of a budding sociopath. And I guess my question, not trying not to wear the Dr. hat, but my question was your intent to try to make some kind of an allegory for adult behavior? This is a girl who is growing up completely disaffected from any kind of adult interaction. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if what you had in mind at some level was whether this was something played out for adults.
That's a great interpretation of it. I mean, we didn't have that particularly in mind, but I think that, there's many valid interpretations. We just wanted, to deal with, like I said before, just someone that was alone on many levels in terms of just these personal issues she was dealing with, and then the fact that her father was as loving as he could be, but very absent, and there was no moral compass to kind of guide her through these situations she was dealing with. And we wanted to take we obviously we had a very different childhood from this, and the girl that played this character was nothing like the character in the movie, but we wanted to take elements of childhood that either that we dealt with personally, or that we that we witnessed just from being in school and everything, of particular kids that were the loner kids, and to kind of amplify them for purposes of this story. Yes.
Did you purposely leave open to interpretation on whether or not the lady in the well was real?
Yes, and people have lots of different opinions, and they're all very valid. Yeah, like one of the things we did is when she's throwing stuff in the well, and even when she jumps in at the end, like we purposely never let you hear anything hit the bottom of it, so that there is kind of like that suspension of disbelief and doubt as to what exactly that hole is to her. If the woman's down there, she could be down there, or it could just be an infinite hole. So. Yes.
Could you just talk about your casting process?
Well, we for Sydney Aguirre, we had worked with her on a music video the previous year. It was a similar kind of melancholic tone, and she had a similar kind of character, but a little warmer than this one. But she was such a joy to work with. She's just in person. She's a gregarious. She was here for the premiere, and it was great. She's just really gregarious, incredibly much more eloquent than Nathan or I, and she was just so fun to work with, and just got the tone that we were going for, and we could really deal with her on an adult level, saying this is this kind of character piece that we're working with, and she just really she could connect with that and dial that in. And so we knew that she could, carry the film, and because if she wasn't able to pull it off, then it would have, all collapsed. And we really wanted to have a performance that was, as far as we're concerned, good by adult standards, and not the type of child performance that's manufactured through editing, where they like a lot of sitcom-like kid acting, where they're kind of dead behind the eyes and say a line and it's all cut together. We wanted to try to, capture some real moments with her. Back there.
There's several parts in the film where there's a lack of emotion or lack of reaction. Like she doesn't scream in the woods when she was considering, but it really shows it in the birthday party where there's no reaction to her standing there. And I'm wondering, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it was we wanted to just like the idea of people, because there'd be a lot of situations with other people where they'd be screaming and getting pretty histrionic about it. And we liked, for purposes of this idea, of some of these characters like bottling, up their emotions and not able to, express them for one reason or another. The girl in the birthday scene, we wanted. To be someone that was very vulnerable and wasn't able to stop her from doing what she was doing, and so it was only her that, it was only the character of Annie that could determine whether, she was going to do that or not. And we wanted the character of Esther in the well to be the most histrionic presence in the film.
Talk about your storyline and the second film.
Yeah, Nathan can answer that. It's a quiet film in some ways, so we wanted to make sure like all the nature and all that kind of stuff had its own characteristic, kind of played up to it. And then like I was saying earlier with the well, there was decisions of like how to make that as mysterious or kind of left to interpretation as possible. And then the music was done by a band called the Octopus Project from Austin, who we've done some music videos for them before, and kind of they've scored some of our short films. And it was just like a really neat collaboration, because we just kind of talked to them the same way we talked to Sydney about what kind of tone we were going for, and showed them a couple scenes, and then just let them kind of go to work and kind of create like this mood that kind of represented what Annie was, her life at that time. I guess that's it. Well, thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate it.